You're not?
Well, I like to keep it a little bit mysterious. I don't like to tell everything, but I started playing music when I was about 15, guitar. And that was shortly after my dad passed away. He played guitar, and he was never able to teach me to play. And so I kind of started playing that way. And started out actually playing in church and stuff like that when I was a boy, and singing choir. And then I moved up to California for college and played in some bands there, so a punk band. It was called Fear for Flinching, and then my old band actually was signed to Tooth and Nail Records, which is based out of Seattle, Washington. But we were a band in California, in Orange County, and called Still Coming Day was the name of the band. And we toured around for several years, and that's actually how I know May.
Okay.
Is that my old band toured with them on their first headlining tour. And so, since that was their last tour, you know, they had me play this show for them. So, that's some of the biography, I guess. But I played at Still Coming Day for about 6 years, and then that band broke up. Different band members went their own ways. And then I moved back to Nebraska and started doing solo stuff. So I've been doing solo stuff for the past 3 years. So yeah, there's a big difference. My old band was more like poppy. You could use the word emo, you know, indie rock, and you know, definitely mainstream sounding. And I mean, I just started to listen to more country, more blues music, and more of the music that I just grew up on. You know, the Beatles and, you know, Johnny Cash, those type of artists. And really got into, you know, folk rock. And of course, folk rock is, you know, folk music itself is making a resurgence, you know, right now, or the whole 60s resurgence too. But I kind of wanted to play more music that had those elements of those past bands and musicians. There is, and I kind of left this out of the story, but after Still Coming Day broke up, there was a while where, you know, we were living in Seattle, and we moved back down to California, and I didn't have a place to live, and so I actually lived out of the tour van. And so for a couple months I lived out of the tour van, and then I would rent a room from my friend when they would go on tour. Well, then things kind of got rough, and I didn't have enough money, because it is very expensive to live in Orange County, in California. And so I found myself back in the van again. And then I found myself back in the van another time. And I never really stayed in the van longer than 3 months at a time. But things change in your head when you are living in your van or in your car. I've never lived on the streets, so I mean, I haven't been homeless in that way, but I have spent many months not having a home, and it's not a fun experience. I don't wish it on anybody. And you know, a lot of people out there have stuff in their cars. They haven't, you know, crossed over that step where they are on the street. And most people that you talk to that are on the street will stay that way. And so there's a lot that needs to be done as far as, you know, more missions and places for people to stay. I'm all for that. You know, right now there's not a lot I can do other than playing a show like this. It's a benefit show for that. Or just giving some food to some people who are on the street, or, you know, a long time ago my dad actually worked at the mission in Lincoln, People's City Mission, and so I grew up around homeless people, you know, so that's why I definitely, I guess, have a heart for them, you know. But at the same time, I've been on tour, and, you know, I've said, hey man, go away, I'm not going to give you any money. So I've been on both sides of it, and I think really for me, there was a time where, when I was living in the van for a long period of time, I had a big beard, and my hair was really long and scraggly, and, you know, I still had a job, but I just didn't really have any upkeep. You know, like I would sometimes take a shower at a friend's house, or I would go to the gym to take a shower, but I remember talking to this one bum who I had said that I don't, you know, he'd asked me for money a long time ago, and we were standing in line at this burrito place to get a burrito, and he looked over at me and he said, hey, you kind of look a lot like me. And I said, yeah, I do. And then we started having a normal conversation. And that's when I knew that I had to get out of living in the van. You know, I had to become a normal person again. So, and some of that was like by choice. And, you know, some of the stuff I talk about in songs refers to homelessness, like in the song Tornado Lullaby. It's about a homeless man. And the song that I have for the compilation is about a homeless guy too. So I will refer to that in some of my songs. But that's where it comes from, the influences of homelessness. So even though I haven't necessarily lived on the street, I have been without a home. So. Well, I don't have any Portishead records, but I have listened to Portishead several times. And actually one of my bass players in Silicon Day, in the old band, he was a big Portishead fan, and as well my guitar player. And so they would listen to that music in the band. And sometimes those influences, they just influence you. Whether you necessarily have those CDs or not, if you're just hanging out, and they would listen to those CDs. So I can't remember the name of their records, but I definitely have listened to Portishead quite a bit. And I do like their music, but I'm kind of I don't buy a lot of music. I sometimes do. If I really support the artist, I will buy it. But just because I guess, money-wise, there's other priorities, eating and paying rent. So, well, I do definitely speak, a lot of, sometimes about political things, and sometimes they're just in big generalities, I'm kind of, I guess, not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm nonpartisan, I'm registered nonpartisan. People want to know that, but, and I do vote, of course. But yeah, I think there's a lot of, corruption in our government, and there's very few people that are willing to stand up against that and say, hey, this is being done wrong. Please, what is the truth? And I don't think I have a song on the album Hitchhiker's Son, which is my new record. It's called Far From the Truth, and that song kind of speaks about that. It talks about how, well, really, what are we being fed as individuals, as Americans? Are the things that the media is telling us, are they even true? Are those things, censored? Well, they are, But a lot of people don't realize that. And I think I always encourage people to go out, do research, learn, educate yourself, look at from all viewpoints and find out, dig for the truth, and don't just accept what you read in the newspaper or what you hear on TV or what a certain politician says. Yes. My friend Josh in the band Emery did that while I was living with him out there. And Josh was a pretty busy guy, so he doesn't get a lot of time to do fun things like that. He's always busy with Emery. But he was off tour for a while, and he was into collecting these old video cameras. And I said, hey man, why don't we shoot a video on Super 8? Because no one really does that anymore. They all do it digitally. And so I really wanted to do something. I used to be a film student for a while, and I only did a couple videos when I was a film student, and I dropped out of college to go pursue my band. So I thought it would be really fun to do a video like that. So Josh did all the shooting for that video, and we bought some old Super 8 film, and that was actually shot last year. And so I was just happy. Sometimes when you're shooting with film, you don't know if it's going to turn out. If you have a camera that's not an autofocus camera, you have to really know what you're doing. So I'm glad that some of the shots we got turned out. But it was very DIY. That video was done for about $80. So just the price of the film. So there wasn't a whole big budget, from a record label or anything. That was just on my own. But a record label called A Reaction is going to re-release my EP on iTunes worldwide. But it's already on in the U.S., but they're going to do it worldwide, I guess. So we'll see how that goes. No, it's not Nebraska. No, we filmed it all in Seattle. Well, some of the shots are in downtown Seattle. Some of the shots are actually, I think it's south of Seattle. And then some of the shots are up north of Seattle, where it shows the train and stuff like that. But we couldn't really get any shots of me jumping on trains that were actually moving, so we did the best that we could. You get in trouble. We didn't want to, have problems with the police while we were filming, so we did it that way. So my music is out there for everybody on iTunes, and there's some songs for free as well. On Bandcamp, I have a song on there for free, but my website has it all on there. Just OrionWalsh.com. I don't always plug my websites or anything. I'm not really big into that, but it is up, on the internet if people want to check it out. So.